I was speaking to the governor. She's oblivious to the state of the budget, state of the economy in Arizona, and the deficit and debt that the state has. How exactly are you planning on getting any kind of budget really passed per via? Okay.
Let each one.
Let each one of us talk about the budget or the governor. The governor's not oblivious to the state of the economy or the budget. What she has is a completely different philosophy, and she doesn't care about good policy at this point. What she cares about is promoting her philosophy and her political future. So make no mistake, she understands. She's surrounded by people who are willing to crunch the numbers and to massage the numbers to come out with whatever she wants her budget to say. I was a majority leader a few years ago, and I had the opportunity to negotiate with her for a couple of years. And I can tell you that the facts don't matter. So what we have to do is we have to get to the point where we decide that we're the legislature, we're going to present a budget. If she wants to veto it, she can veto it, and then there's accountability on her end. What we've been afraid to do is to do our jobs. And I can tell you on the Senate side, we've seen tremendous problems with the leadership. They have actually gone to the governor, and they have handed the keys, in my opinion, to her for the entire legislative process when it comes to the budget. So what we have to do is have the leadership get a spine, decide that they're going to promote the legislation that needs to be promoted, that we're going to have a reasonable budget, and then it needs to be taken to the members, and the members need to vote on it. If we vote it down, then they need to adjust it, and ultimately the voters are going to decide whether they approve or disapprove of the budget that we put out. But that's what needs to be done, and we don't have the courage to do it.
And I could say amen to that. Let me just paint a picture of what's going on with the budget, because it is a crisis. It's not just a blip. What we have currently in 08, and that's the budget that ends June 30th, we have a $1.2 billion deficit. That means we don't have enough money to pay bills. We're $1.2 billion short. Now, most of you, if you ran your own business, when you can't make payroll, I suspect most of you would stop hiring. This governor has not done that. As of July, she knew we were $200 to $300 million short, $200 to $300 million short of paying the bills for what the legislature had authorized, and refused to stop hiring. In fact, she's not done anything to help in that situation. She's continued to hire and create new positions, in fact, even. And so we ran a bill out, called a wedge bill, if you will, and demanded that she stop. She go to a hiring freeze immediately. Well, she just announced that she's going to go to a hiring freeze, but it was after we had a bill passed 2/3 in the House, which is enough to get it to her desk with an emergency clause. But it goes beyond that, even as we talk about it. $1.2 billion in 08 short. We have a $2 billion deficit going into 09. That's the year that starts July 1st. We have a $1 to $2 billion deficit projection for 2010. We have $1 billion in excess potentially in 2011. Now, forecasting is difficult at best, but that's the numbers that we have what is called a consensus forecast. It's a U of A model, a National Body Elliott Pollock, Joint Legislative Budget Committee, and we have these economists around the state to come together to do this forecast. And we've been pretty good on the mark. So we have a serious problem.
I just need to say this about the budget, and I think that's what we're here to talk about today. In 08, there was a budget passed by the House and the Senate. I don't know, but I didn't vote for it because it was irresponsible. And all of the things that you see the bankers doing here, government is doing at all levels, from school boards to city governments to county governments to state governments and all the agencies in between. They're all doing the same thing because that culture has permeated all of those people. They're all living by those standards. They don't understand why government shouldn't live by those kinds of standards either. And so in 08, a budget was passed that was irresponsible, and now we are about 1.2 or more billion dollars in the hole for the 08 budget, which ends June 30th of this year. And 3/4 of the budget had already been spent, and so in the Senate, we had people that had the guts to actually cut $0.2 billion The other billion, they don't have the guts to cut. So we've cut 0.2 billion in the '08 budget, but we still are $1 billion short. The way they're going to make up that ostensibly is to rainy day fund and fund sweeps. Well, that still gets us through '08, but even in the Senate, we only have 15 votes for that. We need one more. Once you've done that, then I don't know what you do for '09. So it's going to be a long, lengthy discussion here today. Maybe it won't be long and lengthy here today, but as far as the budget goes at the Capitol, it will be long and lengthy. But we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying not to bond. That's what the 1 vote or 2 votes that are in the Senate want to do. They want to bond, and those are all just the Republican side. We haven't even talked about the Democrats, who pretty much follow lockstep with Governor Napolitano.
I just want to add something before I give this to Patrick. Folks, you look at us and you think, well, gosh, you guys are Republicans and you're in charge. You know, you've got the majority. So why is this happening? Well, I can tell you right now, you know what rhinos are, don't you? Yeah. Okay, that's what we've got. We've got a bunch of rhinos down there.
Rhinos too.
No, not here. Absolutely not here. But you guys, you have no idea how frustrating it is for us that have at least a little bit of an understanding here. We know how to balance our own checkbook. We know we don't spend money that we don't have. To see these other people going along with the things that the governor wants to do and the Democrats want to do. Increasing programs. I mean, they take health care programs. And it used to be at 100% of the poverty level. If you were at 100%, you would get, you'd get services. Okay, it got raised to 125. Then it got raised to 150. Now, if you're at 200% of the poverty level, you're getting services. This is asinine. And these are the things that are driving us absolutely into the hole. Let me give it to Patrick, and then Lyle will give you a question.
The technique that's being used in Texas today to launch the Trans-Texas Corridor, which is some are calling the NAFTA Superhighway, that project is launched as a public-private partnership, where outside companies, not even American companies, are buying up the rights for 50 years to charge tolls on Texas roads that will significantly degrade the rest of the road system in Texas. And part of the reason that it's being launched is that the state found itself maneuvered into such a poor financial condition that the only thing they could do, now this is a solution to the crisis, the only thing they could do was to turn to outside help. And that paved the way for Sintra out of Spain to invest the billions of dollars into the infrastructure in Texas to build a superhighway system. And I'll tell you what, the globalist forces in America or in the world want to own major infrastructure in Arizona. You've got to understand that. They are hungry for the infrastructure here. They want it desperately. So the fact that Arizona would be allowed to get into a financial crisis, the solution that will come out of this, you just wait and see, the solution that will come is, well, we need to turn to outside capital funding to make up the shortfall. And somebody's going to be trotted in to either buy up this highway, that highway, a railroad, an easement, something, where these foreign companies can get their hooks in your state. And it's not going to be a good thing.
We are already having the infrastructure of the United States sold totally out from under us to foreign entities.